What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from Zoom again, and this time we got round 5 with Gabe of Unto Others. Thanks for coming back on the show, as always, man.
It's always a pleasure talking to you, dude.
Yeah, it's always an honor to talk to you. So this time we got two new songs out, Butterfly and the Regiki, or that I did the best I could there.
Yeah,
But
that's good. It's good. Whatever. Right geeky,
yeah.
whatever.
So as per usual, these songs are amazing, as always. So is this a good representation of what the follow-up to Strength is going to sound like, or is this just the tip of the iceberg?
It's the tip of the iceberg for sure. In fact, we're going to be putting out a couple more singles before the full album comes out, and I think people are going to form their own idea of what the album's going to be based off of those, but they're wrong. I mean, the songs you'll hear before the record comes out are there's just literally every song is so much different from each other on this record. Like,
Yeah.
there's some heavy metal on there. There's some songs that almost, I mean, I have one song that almost uses no distorted guitars at all, you know. So it's just like, yeah, there's something in there for everyone.
That's
for sure.
that's incredible because what I've always loved about Onto Others from when I first saw you guys at the Idle Hands days, which by the way I'm kind of gatekeeping you guys and saying, yeah, I saw them when they were still called Idle
Oh
Hands.
yeah, yeah, that's pretty. I get that quite a bit actually. People like still call us Idle Hands at the shows. We hear people chanting Idle Hands, shit like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I have an Idle Hands shirt and I'm never getting rid of that. Like I don't wear it anymore, but I
Yeah.
locked it away and I'm that's a collector's item for me now.
That's awesome, dude.
But because what I've always thought was great about Onto Others is like if you like Mana, you're gonna like Strength. You're gonna like these new songs. I feel like that there is, for lack of better words, a formula. It's still your voice. It's still Sebastian's guitar playing. But like there's so much incorporated in the sound. So how do you sort of find that balance in a way between not completely abandoning what you have, but also uh, continuing to explore uncharted territory?
Uh, it's honestly really easy for me because this band is not super democratic. It's when it comes to songwriting. I write the songs and I bring them to the band, you know, and so when when writing a new record, I'm not thinking at all. I'm just writing new music. So what you're hearing is a natural progression of myself through the years. I actually was kind of jealous of Adele for naming her albums after her age, 19, 21, 25. I was like, oh God, why didn't I think of that? Like, because it's such a great concept. It's like you're getting an exact reflection of where I am musically at that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really plot or plan when it comes to the music. I usually just write it and it goes out. That's why there's, a lot of eclectic stuff going on. You have songs like Puppy Love and then Heroin and God's Work and Single Solemn Rose,
Yeah.
it's just like where I'm at when I'm writing.
So it's funny you mentioned that because I can't remember, I've interviewed you so many times now, I can't remember which questions I asked and which ones I didn't. But I could tell that there's so much technical proficiency in your sound that, it's clearly not just made overnight in a way, but you say that it is a reflection of where you are at that time. So how do you maintain the emotion that is invoked in the song and still but work on it for an extended period of time?
Uh, it's usually because they're actually not being worked on for an extended period of time. Like the core of most songs is laid out in one session that might be an hour or two long. And then it's all just kind of slowly built on that. Some songs are finished, like Heroin, for example. I wrote that front to back with lyrics in like 2 hours. And that, sometimes great happy days like that happen and you freak out and you're like, I'm so great. But that only comes at the cost of hundreds of days of sitting down and trying and failing. I'm sure as a painter yourself, that it's literally the hours you put in.
Yep.
Eventually, you're going to get some awesome inspiration and come up with something great.
This is what happens to me when I paint, and maybe this happens to you. I don't know how much it would happen to you. It feels great for the moment. You're proud of it. You take a look at it. You love it. Then, in my case, I look at a picture of it on my phone. This happens also a lot when I tattoo. And then you realize, oh my, the one little mistake just fucks everything up.
Yes. Yep. I mean, for me, yeah, I'll jam the shit right after I wrote it, and I'm psyched on it. I'll go walk around the neighborhood and listen to it and come up with new ideas. and then the next day I'll be like, oh, this is crap, and then 2 days later I'll listen to it again and I'll go, this is great. Why did I think this was crap? And then, but it's literally, it never stops. Like I still even listen to songs off of Mana and go, this isn't that good. How can people like this record? And then and then oh, this is pretty good. How did I write this? That kind of shit. So
Yeah.
it's all your mood
Yeah,
for sure.
I just love because Mana for me was like my soundtrack going into the pandemic, and then Strength was sort of the soundtrack to coming out of it. So I think in the end, it is. I feel like music is the best representation of how time is relative. Like a good example, we were just talking about Death before we started rolling. Now, The Sound
Yeah,
of Perseverance, or a lot of Death's albums came out before I was born. So,
yeah,
like, I'm not saying The Sound of Perseverance is taking me back to what year did that 91 I think that came out or whatever, but like yeah, it doesn't take me back to 1991. It takes me back to 2016 when I started getting
yeah.
into that type of music. So it does represent once again.
2016, dang, that's late, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, no, that's cool though. Like, I got into Death when I was like, I assume we're similar ages.
uh,
I'm 33.
30.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, like I got into it in high school, and then I went less extreme. I went down the ladder. I started at like Dimmy Borgir and Cradle of Filth and At the Gates and Arch Enemy, and then met my buddies who were like, "What? That shit sucks. Listen to Metallica, AC/DC, and Motley Crue and Iron Maiden and whatnot." And I kind of just went backwards all the way to where I'm at now, where I'm listening to like Genesis shit, like the Smiths, and even just
Yeah,
some questionable stuff.
yeah,
Men at Work, of
mhm.
course,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Great bands, but
Yeah. I started
no,
with Avenged Sevenfold, My Chemical Romance, Disturbed.
yeah,
Then I went into metalcore. Like in high school, I was mainly a metalcore guy. Killswitch, As I Lay Dying, All That Remains, and then it
yeah.
transformed into death and black metal. So
Oh fuck yeah, dude.
yes,
Yeah,
which is something what I think is why I resonated with Onto Others so much is because I feel like it's a bridge between everything I liked as a young music fan, but everything I've also discovered now. It is almost kind of like the sum of everything I was into. Lacuna Coil is still my favorite band of all time. So
yeah.
to have kind of like what made me gravitate towards that with everything with the knowledge that I have now. So
Mm. Oh, thank you very much, dude.
yeah, of
That's
course.
uh,
Circling back to Butterfly, because Butterfly has been almost like a metaphor. Its symbolism is just extraordinary. Is Butterfly meant to be a symbolism or a metaphor for something? Like who is dying with you when we listen to that song?
now you're making me think. Yeah, there was something profound in there when I was writing it for sure. I finished the lyrics, and nowadays I try to keep it as simple as possible. I'm trying to be less wordy with my songs, a bit more succinct. As Shakespeare says, I believe brevity is the soul of wit, right? So I'm trying to just you know remove the words basically. And Butterfly is a prime example of that, where the chorus is, "Butterfly, I'm tearing off your wings. Butterfly, you die with me." And that song, I don't know, I can't even remember what perspective I wrote it from, but it can be interpreted in multiple ways. Um, the main thing is like, I mean, there's domestic violence kind of aspect to that, abusive relationships in there. That it could be interpreted that way. But I think for me, that song was, you can be your own worst enemy. Like, so putting yourself down is is basically the point of that song. Like, okay, I could change my mind and succeed, or I could decide that I'm worthless and not try. I'm not good enough, and that's kind of what the song is about. Just that's why it ends with "I set you free." Right? I'm kind of trying to throw a positive spin on there.
Yeah, it almost seems like something that every artist tells themselves or goes through.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's funny. The longer I do this, the more, I mean, the less critical I am of myself, and I worry that, oh, maybe that's going to hinder the art, right?
Yeah.
The quality of the art. But yeah, I mean, for the first 5 years of Unto Others, Idle Hands, like, yeah, just constant battle of, is this shit? Is this not shit? Is this, uh,
Well,
Am I good enough? You have imposters. Like, I definitely had imposter syndrome when people were saying Mana's some fucking great, amazing record. I was like, nah, this has to just be promotion. Like, this can't, you know what I mean? Like, people, no, like, this can't be, you know, this can't actually be a great record or something like that, you know?
Well, you just did the 5-year anniversary, which you probably are the quickest band to ever do an anniversary tour ever, but
Well, we did 2 anniversary shows, and I did those well, for the biggest reason was we fucking didn't have anything booked the first half of this year, and I'm like, you know, I'm talking to management, I'm like, can you get us on the fucking road? And they're like, it's not time yet. You need to, you know, the album's got to come out first and all this shit. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm doing something, you know, like, yeah, I'm going to put on a fucking big show then. So it was sweet, you know. Yeah, we had it at the Star Theater here in Portland, a venue I've never played. So I only have a few to cross off the list now. I think it's the Wonder Ballroom and the Moda Center and the Memorial Coliseum. So, you know, the big ones and one last club or theater.
Well, that's also before you guys finally play Madison Square Garden, which will happen. I see.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I heard there's a smaller room in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, I saw I saw Dream Theater there with that's where Dream Theater played with Devin Townsend and Animals as Leaders. It's it's smaller, but like it's basically huge. As if you took a slice out of the garden. And what's funny is I think if you take a wrong turn backstage there, you're just going to end up in the subway station.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. So we'll fingers crossed for Madison Square Garden. I was talking to Doyle from the Misfits actually 2 years ago, and I said, you know, do you have any advice for me, like for a aspiring musician, career musician? I loved his answer. He just said, just don't stop. That was it.
Yeah.
You know, I've been in the Misfits for 40 years, and my dream was always to play Madison Square Garden, and we finally did it. Yeah. But it took me 40 years.
I was there, and oh my God, I was there, and you've never seen anything like that ever.
Yeah, I mean, they're like cultural icons, you know. Yeah. So
I refuse to see them ever again, though, because they have been doing other shows after that, but you can't top that. Like, I've had like opportunities like to go see them play.
But you don't want to.
Yeah,
top it. You don't want to be disappointed.
Yeah, exactly. No offense, but that's one of those things you see them once. It has to be that.
Yeah, I saw them at Psycho Las Vegas a couple of years ago. And it was pretty sick. I'm glad they're back together and doing stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm glad the money was good enough to do it, I suppose.
Fair enough. I mean, listen, everybody loves fucking money, and anybody who tells you that, like, oh, I don't do this for the money, they're fucking lying to you. Okay, they are. like it's not shallow or selling out to say I fucking love money. Okay, it buys freedom, and that is
yes, freedom for sure. Yeah. So I will say, I've been without money. I've been, you know, so broke that I'm fishing quarters out of the couch to buy like a 40, you know, shit like that, or just searching the couch for quarters, not finding any, and not getting, you know, to buy anything or whatnot, and eating top ramen. I've been that broke. And I definitely prefer not being broke.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't make you a sellout to be, you know, Jason Newsted said it best. We are sellouts. We sell out every stadium in the country.
I think that was Lars.
No, it was Jason. Jason.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna have to go rewatch that then. I'll get you.
Okay. Fair enough. Do remind me.
I swear to God, it's Lars. Yeah, but you might be right. Yeah.
Now, the real thing I wanted to talk about is, so your music has resonated with me in a very profound way, not to blow smoke by any means, but it has hit me in a very significant way, and part of me has wondered why. So, and this question is going to be very long, so forgive me, but
oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I encountered, and I'm sure maybe you've encountered it too, being 30 in your 30s, but the Saturn return, as they call it, where you sort of realize you're not the person you were, but you don't know who you're going to be. Now, and there is also the aspect of you finally open your eyes and you see just how much time has passed. And then I listen to your band, because you are a band now that I tend to resort to when I don't know what else to listen to. Time crushes all, just a matter of time, don't waste your time. It just seems like time is the constant subject matter in it.
Yeah.
With addressing time in a way, because I feel like time inflicts all wounds just as much as it heals all wounds. What if if you is are you writing about your experiences with time in a way, or is time just time seems to be some bands sing about Satan, some sing about murder, some sing about
Yeah.
sex, drugs, and rock and roll. You guys sing about time, and
Yeah, I didn't realize I was writing a shitload of songs about time until until after I did. And so on this next record, I think now there's a few songs about time on there, but uh, yeah, I've always been a very reflective person. I wouldn't say I live in the past, but I cherish things. I really enjoy taking walks down memory lane. I like reminiscing. I like, I've always been interested in, it sounds dumb, but I've always been interested in time, and tried to make sense of it. I have my own theories and thoughts about it. I personally, I'm like, well, time doesn't exist, but it's like the present moment. Where is it? The past, the future, where does it come? Where does it go? It feels like sometimes I can't, um, grasp onto a moment. It's really hard to hold on to it. Like, you don't want the time to pass, and yet it just does. And it's like, it used to upset me quite a bit because I was like, I'm getting older. And you have to understand those first two records too, and the EP were written as I was approaching 30. So I'm feeling a lot of, oh shit, you know, I'm running out of time basically, and I think that kind of poured into the music. Now I'm like, whatever. I'm in my 30s. I don't give a fuck.
yeah,
you, you know,
yeah.
So I'm just trying to enjoy life now. I'm instead of worrying and wondering about where I should be and what I want to do. I'm very comfortable and confident with who I am, where I'm at in my life, and what I'm doing with each day. Like, I don't stress the small stuff.
And
Um,
that's
really.
very admirable to hear. Are you one of those artists? Because I've experienced this too. Whenever you're not working on music, because we have to take breaks sometimes. Sometimes, like, I'm literally now
Yeah.
forcing myself to literally take a half hour to play Super Mario on my
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, you must. You
Like,
must.
but does it weigh on your conscience that whenever you're not working on music that you're just fucking up? That are you calling yourself a lazy fuck in the process of taking
So
a break?
yeah, I used to feel that way too. That exactly what you're describing. And yeah, I used to not be able to, not be productive. Like, I was a workaholic for sure. Um, so I gauged myself and my personal worth off of how much I could produce in one day. If I didn't produce anything, um, I went to bed feeling like shit or wanting to go out and party because I felt like I hadn't done anything with that day. Now, like I said, I'm pretty content. I don't really give a shit. Honestly, I haven't, in the past 6 months, I haven't been actively writing because I did that for 7 years straight. And I was like, dude, you need to take a break. So what I'm doing right now, or what I've been doing for the past like 6 months, is stepping back because we finished the record in like November, December, stepping back and just focusing on myself, what I need to make myself happy, and stepping back. And it's been great. It's allowed me to reflect on what I've done, and more importantly, it allows me to reflect on what I actually want to do.
Yeah.
And it does that include writing music? Luckily, yes, I do. So now I'm starting to start slowly get back into the writing process. Um, but yeah, like, I'm so glad I took the time because I really like took everything related to music way too personally. I still kind of do. I try not to read comments, um, because, as Neil Peart said, uh, I don't read the good. I don't believe the good reviews because otherwise I'd have to believe the bad ones too.
Hmm.
So you just don't read them. Basically, I mean, you can't sit there and accept all the praise that you're the greatest and you're the best and you're cool or whatever, and then come across the one that says you suck ass because you're going to believe that one.
Yeah.
You know.
People
Um,
when people like I've always wondered, like, maybe I should mention this to the therapist, but like, why when people get compliments on their art, because every artist strives to have success one way or another.
Yeah.
So when people are complimenting you and saying how good your stuff is and whatnot, but it almost feels awkward, like in a way, like
It is awkward, but I've done it enough times at this point where I understand that it's for the fan. Like if they want to, when someone comes up to tell you you're awesome, it's not for you, it's for them. They needed to tell you this. And so, like, because what am I going to say? I am. All right, no, I'm not. They don't like that either. When you're like, please, no, I'm not. People don't like that either. And it's like, there's almost no correct answer. You just have to sit there and take it.
yeah,
Like, because even just saying thank you and thank you over and over again, which is all you can do, doesn't seem to really satisfy people. It's like,
yeah,
I don't, I'm still learning how to properly deal with that awkwardness of like, hey, I love your music, I play it this many times a day, like, I was at your show 4 years ago and this thing, and it's like, okay, awesome, thank you so much, like, that's very cool. I try to like have some kind of meaningful banter before we split off. Like, okay, let's try and have a personal story to keep between us, some joke or something we talk about that's not just them talking to me or something.
yeah. I mean, that's how I felt when I first interviewed you at the King Diamond show, because like I've done at that point in 2019, I've already done 1,000+ interviews, and like it does get repetitive at times, or it's impossible not to. And then to have a conversation about your creative process versus, oh, it always starts off with a riff. Oh, it always starts off with a riff. Oh, it always starts off with this or jamming or whatever. To have that intricate, it kind of stood out in that regard. Which, look, I'll confess to you now. When I first got the offer to interview you, I've only listened to maybe like 3 songs from you just to, prepare myself, because the interview was confirmed so last minute. But then I went back and listened to everything on the train ride back and was just astonished. So I'm kind of losing track, but like I guess what I'm saying is that I think the interaction you have with somebody as an artist is just as important as the art you create.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, these people connected with something, and you're the conduit. You're the tangible thing, because you can't say thank you to a song.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I just try to be as polite as possible with everyone I meet. I'm not really dismissive of anyone unless they're fucking wasted, just just wasted, like repeating themselves over and over and not letting me go. That then I sometimes have to be like, okay, I got to take a piss.
Yeah. I mean, everybody has to do that, so that's the best thing to do. You tell them you left the iron on.
Yeah, or I gotta change or something. Yeah, but yeah, there have been a few where it's like, oh my god, man, like, you are wrecked, and I am like your lashing post here. Like,
hey, that's the whipping boy gone wrong, you could say.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, exactly.
But do you feel, depending on what you are singing about, because like you mentioned that Jackie is a story, and then of course doing great covers, whether it's Pet Sematary or Hell is for Children, versus something more personal. Whoops, sorry, my light box. Does it maybe resonate with you differently? Do you feel like depending on what you are singing about, that changes the energy that you channel into it?
You're saying like whatever song I'm singing,
yeah. Does it feel like that the energy, or does it resonate with you differently? Like, it doesn't really matter is really like resonating for a lot of people. Like, that is the most upfront depressing song you'll hear in a way, but it is.
What's funny is that was a non-depressing song for me, and I'm sure like most people who listen to this kind of music or listen to metal, people go, how can you listen to that shit? And it's like, this is reminding me that there's other people in the world who feel the same way I do. This is allowing me to connect my frustration and anger and sadness or whatever the fuck I'm feeling today, and connect and realize I'm not alone. And that's what it doesn't really matter, is kind of the same vibe. That one is like, it's like, yeah, it's apathetic. It doesn't really matter if you live or die. To me, that's comforting. That means you can do whatever you want. You don't have to stress. It doesn't mean nothing matters, so go kill yourself.
Yeah. No.
That's not what it means.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and circling back to what you were talking about before living, because I feel like when you try to process everything that has happened in the past, you're almost living in the past. Trying to prepare for what's to come is thinking too far ahead, and then living in the moment seems like you're not giving a fuck about any of them.
Yeah, like anything in life, it's just balance.
Yeah.
You need to properly think about the future. You should learn from your past, and you need to take a break to spend time and live in the moment each day.
Yeah.
But don't ever do one all the time.
Yeah, and don't waste and don't waste your time. I'm gonna use that.
There is a part of me that does want to be the dude, Big Lebowski, and literally just live in the moment 24/7. Like, what are you doing today? Yeah, whatever, man. Like,
do you fucking hate the Eagles?
I could be that guy sometimes, because that really does seem like the life. But
I lived the Big Lebowski moment when I took an Uber home and they were playing the Eagles, and I literally, I tried so hard. I wanted to live that moment. I was hoping he'd pull over and throw me out. And I just said, "Oh, I fucking hate the Eagles, man." He was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'll change the station for you." I was like, "No, that wasn't what you were supposed to do."
You're like, dude, it's from a movie.
Yeah.
You're supposed to pull over and kick me the fuck out.
Yeah, I guess the modern day equivalent of that movie scene with getting a 1-star review, but.
Yeah.
But I have a few more questions for you. But when it comes to the negative aspects that you do address in your music, I've always said that when depression or anger or darkness in general is the fuel to the fire, sometimes we could become victimized by our own product in a way. Do you find that, like, that they're speaking of balance, that when it comes to addressing any demons that you face, that there is sort of like an art to addressing it so you don't get consumed by it in a way?
No. I've never had that kind of experience. The only victimization by my songs to myself is the fact that people assume I'm that person all the time. I am not a sad, depressed person at all. Like, I just enjoy thinking, and I'm not afraid to think deep, and I'm very passionate about the things I care about. So I know that's a general statement that applies to everyone, but the only thing that bugs me about my songs, is when people think, oh, this guy must be brooding, sad, depressed, gothy guy, like 24/7. I'm like, dude, once you start talking to me, I am the most just as jovial and what do they call it, affable kind of guy.
Maybe you could steal the slogan. Cannibal Corpse, I pitched it to Cannibal Corpse, so but maybe you could take it. Evil music for good people.
Yeah, my brother actually recently messaged me some meme that kind of put it well. It was like, I love the statement: hippies are assholes disguising themselves as good people. Metalheads are great people disguising themselves as assholes.
100% could not be more accurate.
Yeah.
But what do you call a metalhead hippie? Because there's plenty of them too.
Stay away, dude.
Yeah, I wouldn't want him driving me.
I don't know. You run into them from time to time. They're usually pretty cool.
Yeah. And then there are these two debate questions I have. One with regards to inspiration. Can you seek out inspiration? Can you go and look for it, whether it's, taking a walk, or do you just have to let it strike you? Is it not real inspiration unless it strikes you?
No, I mean, I can seek it out. It's just a lot harder, and it really feels like work. It's not as fun. The only way that I've known to do this is riding my bike or taking a walk. Biking works better. I wrote like so much of Mana, lyrically and just little flourishes and stuff in my head while I was on my morning bike rides to my old job. I'd have to get up at 5:30 and I would just ride 4 miles straight to work to get there by 6 a.m. every morning while jamming, the night's previous thing like Nightfall or whatever. At that time, Nightfall was called Castle. I didn't didn't have a words for it yet, you know, and that's how most of those lyrics came about. And I feel like it really gave a quality to that record that I can't seem to get back. Being forced to ride to a job I didn't want to go to, you know, it's different than when you choose to go for the ride, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So,
And like, because I feel like that it's easy to confuse creative inspiration with creative energy, where you like have the urge and the desire to create something. You really can't wait to get to the drawing board. You just don't know what to do.
especially at that time when I was really hungry to change my life and knew I didn't want to work at some, you know, it wasn't a shitty job, but that was not my plan, you know, and I like to make plans. I loved working at parks, but I wasn't 16 years old going, I want to work at parks someday.
Hey, Peter Steele did that for a long time, and look what happened. And so
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous, dude. The Peter Steele, like, we keep on getting called typo negative comparisons and shit like that in the press, and I'm like, can you stop? We don't sound that much like typo negative at all.
no, your songs aren't 11 minutes. Like,
We're a completely different fucking band. Like, literally, like, because I have a deep voice in the song or something, like, that's like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
I compared you more to him than anything else, but even that's kind of like
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, both bands, I am a mild fan of. You know, mild. Like, I don't hate them. I don't love them. I'm just like, yeah, they're a good band. You know, and I'll jam, you know, the songs I like from time to time, but I don't have their discography sitting in the back of my head.
yeah.
But yeah.
And then the last question is evolution. Can you dictate how you grow as an artist? Do you have control over your growth, or does that just have to come naturally? Because let's be real, you could write all the songs you want, but you don't know where it's going to take you. I'd imagine that you are creating stuff now that you wouldn't have been able to create hadn't you not been on the tours that you've been on, hadn't you not seen what you have seen. So do you have control over your evolution, or do you just have to let it happen naturally?
Absolutely not. Which is why all artists take things so personally, because what you're giving people is an insight into you. If you're doing it right, you're putting yourself into it, and so when it gets criticized badly, it's people going, hey, you suck. Yeah, I could try and guide it. I could say, all right, this next record I'm writing the most evil, sickest goth metal fucking record of all time. It's going to be just drenched in black ooze and super fucking crazy. And then I would sit down and write, and that wouldn't happen. Something else would come out. Or if I did put myself in a box like that, you'd just have a shit record, and it would suck. And people would be like, oh, this is kind of lame. It's like, yeah, because I hindered my creativity. You have to allow yourself to climb every branch you see on that tree. Like, you can't just, stick to the safest route. You must take the risks, and then you will reap the greatest rewards. And that applies to everything in life.
I saw a tattoo. My dad sent it to me. I'll try to describe it, but it's 4 dice. The first has the letter R and I, and then the last 2 dice are only halfway landing, so it's on the corner. And one side has SK, and the other side has CH. So...
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just finished reading Arnold Schwarzenegger's biography, and he says the same exact thing. He's just like, you want reward, you got to take the risk.
Yeah.
You take the safe route, you're going to end up with everyone else who's on that path. It's really crowded.
Yeah. But I also, at this point, it's just, my friend posted a meme the other day, and it really stuck with me. It's saying, courage is going into something knowing that it might hurt you. Stupidity is also the same thing. This is why life is hard.
Yeah. And I mean, there's no answer. The answer is there is no answer to everything, but people don't like that because that's boring.
Yeah. And I can tell you that if that was my answer for every interview I've done, I would have put it down a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but like we were talking about time earlier, like that's what I always come back to. The answer is you don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Could be anything.
Yeah.
So
and that's That's the
You
beauty
know,
of it
if
all.
you think you know everything, you're a fool.
Yeah, of course. Time may heal all wounds, but time also inflicts all wounds and infects all wounds, and sometimes you have to let it run
Oh
its
yeah,
course.
every single philosophical statement ever made has an opposite contradictory statement.
I
You
know.
know, like it's like the whole point of these little nuggets of wisdom is to inspire something within a person, not to overthink it and
Yeah.
and argue it or something, you know.
Yeah, but let's be real. We're artists. We overthink everything. Like if like, I even
Yeah.
jokingly told my neighbors when I first moved into my place, if you smell burning from my apartment, that's nothing wrong. That's just me thinking. So, so,
You're like, okay. Yeah.
so before we go, I want to thank you so much as always for your time, and most of all, just thank you for your music as always. That continues to inspire, enlighten, and deepen all of us. Is there just anything else with Onto Others that you'd like to promote that you're allowed to talk about at this very moment, of course?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming everyone knows that we're gonna put out a record later this year. So, yeah, we're gonna do that, and you'll get a few more singles, and you know, all the vinyl colors and all the pre-orders will be there for all you people who want that shit. Uh,
Best promotion ever.
yeah, but yeah, you know, it's gonna be a good year. We're gonna start touring a bit more again. We'll be out on the road with Wasp this fall, nationwide, and Death Angel. So that'll be a great tour, and we'll be announcing. What I really want, and believe people need to believe me when I say this. I want to do a headlining tour. I want to play an hour plus, you know, maybe hour and a half in each city in the United States. Um, it's just a matter of time. I'll do it as soon as I can.
I see what you did
Yeah,
there. I see what you did
yeah.
there.
Oh shit. Yeah.
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 But hey, listen, I mean, I love to this day my favorite show I've seen you at was the TVI show in Queens, and that was a great time. I remember being really pissed that I missed your set on the Arch Enemy Behemoth Napalm Death tour. But
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, it was only 30 minutes, and it was all the, you know, the bigger songs we have. You know, the
yeah,
ones we played a million times.
yeah.
So
Well,
um,
the
TVI
beauty
was
of it is because like take like a band that has their quote unquote biggest songs. When your biggest songs are just as good as your deep cuts, where you're happy to hear either or, that is an accomplishment within itself. Like I'm a diehard
thank you.
Disturbed fan, but I do leave before they end with Down with the Sickness. So
Nice, nice.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I feel pretty lucky to have the fan base we do. It seems like we don't have one song that's carrying us. It's all of them. If you even go to like the Spotify, it's pretty consistent. There's several at the top that are all near in numbers, and as you go down, and it's nice to know that, because I one of my biggest fears ever was being a one hit wonder or something. You know what I mean?
oh no,
Like,
yeah, no,
yeah.
definitely not.
Not that we've even had a big hit, you know, but amongst our fans, you know.
Being a one hit wonder has its own line of advantages. Like Hoobastank will forever be able to headline arenas just because of those two songs they put out. So
Yeah, I guess that would be cool. Like you said, everyone likes money, huh?
yeah, I mean, yeah, let's be real. Yeah. But
Yeah,
thank you so
yeah,
much. Everybody,
yeah.
we are here with On to Others. New stuff coming very soon. We'll see you next time on Heavy New York.